Our top focus this Monday morning is on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Glasgow. He's all set to attend the United Nations Climate Change Conference, the COP26. He arrived in Glasgow this morning at 5:20 and will be attending the summit, where we'll see heads of governments of more than 120 countries coming together. World leaders will be sitting down to discuss global warming and the 21st century's biggest challenge for mankind, climate change. The COP26 summit's agenda is to reduce the consumption of global coal resources, limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius, curb increase of greenhouse gases, and also end subsidies on fossil fuels. Ahead of the climate change conference, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also held bilateral meetings with German Chancellor Angela Merkel, with the Prime Minister of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, and Indonesian President Joko Widodo in Rome. This is on the sidelines of the G20 summit. Let's also get you some of the highlights of the G20 summit that the Prime Minister attended. It essentially focused on ending vaccine racism, and the Prime Minister made a big push for that on the world stage. While addressing the G20 summit in Rome, Prime Minister Modi said that India will be producing 500 crore COVID vaccine doses by the end of 2022, and that's enough to end vaccine racism in the world. Prime Minister Modi also pushed for the WHO nod for emergency use authorization for India's indigenous vaccine, Covaxin. Here are the highlights of what the Prime Minister said. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's big vaccine diplomacy at the global stage. Addressing the G20 summit in Rome, the Prime Minister showcased India's stellar vaccination drive and pandemic fight, asserting that India is on the threshold of a vaccine revolution. Producing a staggering 5 billion vaccines by 2022, enough to end global vaccine racism, where poor and developing countries have been left without the life-saving jabs to protect themselves from the rampaging COVID pandemic.
Prime Minister conveyed that India has not only vaccinated over 1 billion of our citizens, but more important is that we are ready to produce over 5 billion vaccine doses by the end of next year. This obviously will be available not only for our citizens, but the rest of the world.
Crucially, Modi also did a forceful pitch for the WHO nod for Made in India Covaxin, terming it of paramount importance in the world's battle to prevent successive killer waves. Modi cited the need for boosting global travel to revive the economy and the need for countries to mutually accept one another's vaccine certificate.
Efforts to contain the COVID-19 pandemic through expedited vaccination efforts and ensuring supply of critical medicines, resumption of early travel between both countries, which is, as I mentioned yesterday, in terms of facilitating travel of our citizens to countries that are partner countries. I think the discussion with the Prime Minister of Singapore was particularly relevant.
Modi's appeal comes after the United Nations accused rich nations of hoarding vaccines.
I have long been pushing the G20 to lead a global vaccination plan to reach everyone everywhere. That plan did not materialize, largely because of geopolitical divides. Global coordinated action has taken a backseat to vaccine hoarding and vaccine nationalism. People in the richest countries are getting third doses of vaccine, while only 5% of Africans are fully vaccinated.
While India is ready to help the world in the pandemic fight, can the developed world take steps to end vaccine racism? Bureau Report, India Today. And today, children returned to their schools in the national capital after a gap of 1.5 years. The Delhi Disaster Management Authority had announced last week that schools would reopen for all classes from November 1st. The schools will function on a 50% capacity with proper COVID safety measures also in place, of course. Thermal screening, staggered lunch breaks, alternate seating arrangements have been made mandatory right now in all schools. There is a restriction on students, teachers and non-teaching staff living in COVID containment zones. Physical classes are not mandatory as of now for the students. Private schools across Delhi are in the process of sending out consent forms to parents. It's only with the consent form that they can actually go ahead and enter these schools. However, many schools have chosen to defer the reopening to the post-festive week. Now, with Diwali approaching, what's a huge concern is that COVID cases will spike. We're already seeing markets across India seeing a huge surge in crowds. Thousands of people can be seen shopping for the festival of Diwali. COVID norms have taken a backseat again in these places. The crowding in markets across India is leading to fears of another COVID wave. Meanwhile, anticipating a spurt in COVID cases during the festive period, Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul said that the central government is ramping up health infrastructure to manage up to 4 lakh cases.
It's the last Sunday before the Diwali week sets in. What you see behind me is the crazy rush that the national capital is right now experiencing. This is one of Delhi's prominent markets, Sarojini Nagar, where you can see that people have flocked in large numbers, clearly forgetting the COVID protocols and letting their guards down. Now, it's the upcoming week which sees the festive season, and clearly that's one of the prominent reasons why people in the national capitals are flocking these markets. This is Sarojini Nagar. However, the picture is very similar in almost all the other major markets here in the national capital, all the more because it's the last Sunday. This is Shacharaji for India Today.
Preparedness will be of a safe level, cushion level, lot of headroom. और जब हम उस फिगर को लेके चलते हैं, जैसे आपने मीडिया में भी सुना, हम 4.5 to 5 lakh per day सर्ज की तैयारी को लेके चलते हैं. It does not mean that we are saying that will happen or should happen or can happen or may happen. No. The preparedness is pitched to be ready to face a daily surge of 4.5 to 5 lakh cases per day.
And this Monday morning, let's also get you the big political stories of the day. In poll-bound Uttar Pradesh, Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav has triggered a controversy. The former chief minister of Uttar Pradesh has compared Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru with Pakistan's founder Mohammad Ali Jinnah. While addressing a public rally in Hardoi, Akhilesh said that Patel, Gandhi, Nehru and Jinnah all studied in the same institute. Akhilesh further added that all of them became barristers and fought for India's independence. Akhilesh Yadav in that same rally asserted that it was Iron Man Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel who imposed a ban on Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, that's the RSS. The SP chief also commented of calling Jinnah a hero of India's independence and that it didn't go down well with the BJP. The Saffron Party has reacted, condemning Akhilesh's statement and said that the country considers Jinnah as the villain of the partition and that the SP chief is trying to reach out to Muslims and going ahead with an appeasement drive during the polls.
Sardar Patel ji, राष्ट्रपिता महात्मा गांधी, जवाहरलाल नेहरू, जिन्ना एक ही संस्था में पढ़ करके बैरिस्टर बन करके आए थे. एक ही जगह पर पढ़ाई लिखाई की उन्होंने, वो बैरिस्टर बने, उन्होंने आजादी दिलाई, उन्हें किसी भी तरीके से किसी का भी संघर्ष करना पड़ा होगा तो वो पीछे नहीं हटे. एक विचारधारा जिस पे पाबंदी लगाई, अगर किसी ने पाबंदी लगाई थी तो लोग सरदार पटेल जी ने उस विचारधारा पे पाबंदी लगाने का काम किया.
जातीय और मजहबी राजनीति करने वाले अखिलेश यादव जी ऑस्ट्रेलिया से पढ़कर आए हैं और वो ऑस्ट्रेलिया से पढ़े हुए अखिलेश यादव जी का ज्ञान वसूल करके तो आज मुलायम सिंह जी भी माथा पकड़ लेंगे. महात्मा गांधी, सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल और पंडित नेहरू के बराबर वो मोहम्मद अली जिन्ना के श्रेय दे रहे हैं आज देश की आजादी की लड़ाई का. ये किस प्रकार की मानसिकता है? देश में इस प्रकार की मानसिकता स्वीकार नहीं की जाएगी। यह सच स्वीकार करना होगा कि मोहम्मद अली जिन्ना इस देश के बंटवारे के लिए खलनायक माना जाता है।
So the battle for Uttar Pradesh clearly intensifying. Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath at the Panchayat Aaj Tak launched a ferocious attack on the Congress, mocking Priyanka Gandhi's decision to field 40% women candidates in the 2022 polls. This on a day that Priyanka roared in Yogi's turf of Gorakhpur, targeting the BJP over a number of issues, including Lakhimpur Kheri violence.
कांग्रेस चाहती है कि वह जो है रेगिस्तान पर ये लोग धान की रोपाई करना चाहते हैं। कांग्रेस देश से प्रदेश के अंदर कुछ नहीं है, वो एकदम सफाया है।
Yogi's most unsparing attack on Congress at Panchayat Aaj Tak. In Ayodhya, UP Chief Minister snipes at Gandhi's, mocks Priyanka's women candidate push.
क्यों नहीं किसी सामान्य महिला को कांग्रेस का अध्यक्ष बनाते हो? एक राष्ट्रीय पार्टी का राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष का पद ही खाली पड़ा हुआ है, कई वर्ष हो गए हैं, कोई अध्यक्ष ही नहीं मिल रहा है। को खानदान में योग्य व्यक्ति नहीं, तो इसलिए खाली रहेगा पद।
Yogi predicted a massive wipeout for Congress in Uttar Pradesh and mocked opposition Samajwadi Party and BSP's inaction during the pandemic.
1.5 साल में कांग्रेस सपा बसपा कोरोना कालखंड में आइसोलेशन में थी। अब जनता की बारी है इन्हें आइसोलेशन में डालने की, तो चुनाव में जनता इनको आइसोलेशन में डालेगी।
This on a day Priyanka rode on Yogi turf Gorakhpur.
यहाँ पे जो चुनी मिलें लगवाई थी कांग्रेस ने, उनको किसने बंद कराया? आपको याद होगा, समाजवादी की सरकारों ने, बसपा की सरकारों ने बंद कराया। और आज वो कहते हैं कि कांग्रेस भाजपा से मिली हुई है। और मैं इस मंच पर खड़ा करके कह रही हूँ, मैं मर जाऊंगी, जान दे दूंगी, लेकिन इस भाजपा के साथ कभी मैं कोई मिलावट नहीं करूंगी।
Priyanka launched an all-out attack on the Yogi government over Lakhimpur, evoking a stern counter from the Chief Minister.
लखीमपुर खेरी में जिस तरह से किसानों की हत्या की गई और उनकी बिल्कुल सुनवाई नहीं हुई, उस तरह से सरकार ने दिखाया कि उसकी असलियत क्या है, कि जो बड़े बड़े विज्ञापन हैं, जो बड़ी बड़ी बातें होते हैं, उसकी असलियत, उसकी सच्चाई क्या है। उन्होंने दिखाया कि किस तरह से किसानों की इस देश में बिल्कुल सुनवाई नहीं रही।
लखीमपुर की घटना में शासन की कार्रवाई पूरी तरह निष्पक्ष है, पूरी तरह पारदर्शी है। कहीं भी किसी को उंगली उठाने का अवसर सरकार नहीं देगी। शासन ने अगर एसआईटी गठित किया है तो उसमें एसआईटी की पूरी रिपोर्ट आने दीजिए। मंत्री भी जाएंगे और लोग भी जाएंगे।
The battle for Uttar Pradesh has witnessed opposition leaders including Priyanka Gandhi going on temple runs, a move mocked by the Chief Minister.
जो लोग कल तक राम को काल्पनिक कहते थे, आज उन्होंने हमारी वैचारिक प्रतिबद्धता के साथ जुड़ते हुए उन्होंने भी कहना शुरू कर दिया कि राम तो हमारे भी है। तो हमने कहा, कब हमने कहा कि तुम्हारे नहीं है? हम तो पहले से इस बात को कहते थे। तुम और तुम्हारे पूर्वज गलत थे, माफी मांगो देश से।
The Chief Minister also had a strong warning for those cheering for Pakistan during India-Pak cricket matches.
अराजकता और अव्यवस्था फैलाने की छूट किसी को भी नहीं देंगे कि भारत में रह करके, भारत की धरती का अन्न खा करके और पाकिस्तान का गुण गाओगे तो फिर उसी लायक बना देंगे, फिर जिस लायक भारतीय सेना उन लोगों को बनाती है।
From Gorakhpur to Ayodhya, the battle for India's most politically crucial state is only heating up. With Samaj Srivastav in Ayodhya and Abhishek Mishra in Gorakhpur, Bureau Report, India Today.
A Bitcoin scam from 2020 is back to haunt the Karnataka government. In 2019, the scam led to the siphoning off of over 11 crore rupees from the Karnataka government via hacking of an e-governance portal. The Congress and the BJP are now at loggerheads over this multi-crore fraud. The hacking was discovered by a financial consultant back in July 2019 when an illegal transfer of 7.37 crore rupees was shown authorized from the government portal. The siphoned funds were transferred to unrelated accounts of an NGO in Uttar Pradesh. Now, after the hacker was arrested in November 2020, it was discovered that he was the mastermind behind the theft. The case was taken over by the Enforcement Directorate to probe money laundering charges. This was a few months ago in March. The agency later revealed that 1.44 crore rupees was lying in 14 bank accounts. The Karnataka Crime Branch said that it had recovered 31 bitcoins worth 9 crore rupees from the hacker. Congress has now accused BJP of a cover-up because influential politicians, according to the Congress, are involved. The BJP has refuted these charges, saying it's referred the case to central agencies like the ED and the Interpol wing of the CBI.
ನಮಗೆ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಕೆಲವು ಪ್ರಭಾವಿ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ಇದೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಮುಚ್ಚಾಕ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ. ಯಾರಿಗೂ ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಕೊಡಬಾರ್ದು, ಯಾರನ್ನು ಮುಚ್ಚಾಕ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ತಪ್ಪಿತಸ್ಥರಿಗೆ ಶಿಕ್ಷೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಯಾರೇ ತಪ್ಪಾಗಿರಲಿ, ಯಾರೇ ಪ್ರಭಾವಿ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಇರಲಿ. ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ತನಿಖೆ ನಡೆದಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ತನಿಖೆ ಮುಗಿದು ಇಡಿಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಸಿಬಿಐಗೆ ನಾವೇ ರೆಫರ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ತನಿಖೆ ಮುಂದುವರಿಯುತ್ತದೆ. ಯಾರೂ ಕೂಡ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಕೈ ಹಾಕೋದಾಗಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸೋದಾಗಲಿ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲ, ಈಗ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಇದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿ, ತನಿಖೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ನೋಡಿ, ಬಿಟ್ಕಾಯಿನ್ ಭಾಳ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗಿ ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ. ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಹೆಸರು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ದೊಡ್ಡ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಹೆಸರುಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ನನಗೆ ಶಾಕ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಪೊಲೀಸ್ ಆಫೀಸರ್ಸ್ ಹೆಸರು, ರಾಜಕೀಯದ ಹೆಸರು, ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಹೆಸರು, ಎಲ್ಲರ ಹೆಸರು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಎವಿಡೆನ್ಸನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ನಾನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ IT BTಲೆಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಕಡಿಮೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇರೆಯವರನ್ನು ನಾನು ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ.
India's dismal campaign at the ICC World T20 continues. The men in blue suffered a crushing 8-wicket defeat to New Zealand in Dubai. A shoddy batting performance meant India could only manage to score 110 in 20 overs, which the Kiwis achieved with more than 6 overs to spare.
And one of the things that they've done is make a
put into bat first. India brought in Ishan Kishan to open not with Rohit Sharma but with KL Rahul.
He has been in terrific form.
Change in the batting hardly changed the fortunes for Team India, with Ishan Kishan out on the boundary of Trent Boult.
But that's gone straight into the hands of Daryl Mitchell. Trent Boult strikes.
Rohit would have had his second golden duck in a row, but for Adam Milne, who dropped a sitter.
No one has spilt it.
Guns blazing.
KL Rahul's dismissal meant India ended the power play reeling at 35 for 2.
This is KL Rahul though into the pull shot and right at the end.
Rohit Sharma gifted away his wicket to Ish Sodhi on his 29th birthday.
This time is taken. Once again,
Sodhi's birthday only got better when he dismissed a struggling Indian skipper out at long on.
Or it holds up on this occasion.
Virat managed just 9 of 17 deliveries.
Well. Yeah, he got it. He got it. It matters because it's Virat Kohli.
It was an uphill task from there on, with Rishabh Pant and Hardik Pandya at the crease and India now tottering at 48 for 4.
Toss was won by Kane Williamson, 14 of the last 8.
Adam Milne also joined the party for the Kiwis when Pant went for a wild swing only to see the ball crash onto his stumps.
Thank you, Adam Milne. The perfect retort.
Wickets kept falling and somehow India managed to cross the 100-run mark. Eventually, they finished with 110 for 7, their lowest total while batting first in a T20 World Cup game.
And 50th wicket for Trent Boult.
Bumrah.
With hardly any runs on the board to defend, India found it difficult.
Lovely shot.
Bumrah gave India a breakthrough in his second over, but New Zealand never panicked.
Underneath it.
They kept going and the Indians were left frustrated as their chances kept diminishing with every run.
Oh, that's good. Sandler does that.
The nightmare finally ended for India with this loss. Their second in a row, and with this defeat, their chances of making it to the semi-final now only rest on some miracle. Sports Bureau, India Today.
There's plenty in that.
And you can catch all the highlights from the India-New Zealand T20 encounter on our website, indiatoday.in. Do download the India Today app as well. Stay tuned to us here on Fest Up on India Today. I'll be joining you in just a bit with all the top stories.